Seems like a Ritvik has issue. It seems. Pujita, can you? Pujita, can you? Pujita?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Pujita, hi, hi. Yes, please introduce.
Yeah, I have 4+.
I'm sorry.
Yes, continue, please.
Okay, I have 4+ years of experience in IT, roughly 5 years in .NET. I understand HTML, and basically I'm a web service developer, so I understand WCF and .NET. But and I'm into testing also, so I know unit testing.
Okay.
So have basic knowledge of HTML, Pujita, right?
Yes, I have basic knowledge.
Experience, not the knowledge, I hope.
Not experience, I have knowledge because I haven't worked on front-end development anything.
Okay. Fine. So, do you have any knowledge on the JavaScript?
Yes, I know JavaScript.
So, to what extent? It's like, the core concepts, like what is the variable, and then what is function, like that, or do you have knowledge on what is object-oriented JavaScript?
I have working experience on JavaScript.
So you are good with what is object?
Yes.
And
Hi, I'm sorry, my earphones are broke, so sorry about that. Yeah.
Is it Ritvik?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. So we are trying to know your knowledge so that we can plan it to take you further. Okay. Let us complete with Pujita, then we'll come back to you, Ritvik.
Sure.
Okay. So Pujita, so you want to jump onto the AngularJS, right? Or
I want to move into a developer role because I was partially doing testing and development. So yes, I would like to move to AngularJS UI developer role. Yeah.
Okay. Are you good at CSS?
No. I have to refresh my knowledge. I have attended training around 4 years back.
Okay, basic knowledge of CSS.
Yes.
Okay, that should be fine. So you don't need to be expert on CSS if you want to learn the AngularJS. Right?
Okay.
Okay. That's fine. Hi, Ritvik.
Yes, hi. So for me, like I have work experience of just 10 months in DevOps engineer role. So I just joined recently, and now I'm trying to move to UI developer role. So I don't like my level of knowledge regarding all this HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and all that is right now 0. So yeah. So even for me, I would like to start from the ground 0. So yeah.
Okay.
So we can consider him as a fresher, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, I got it. Thank you, Ritvik.
Going forward, we have Sunita and we have Gauri. We'll come to Gauri. Gauri, please introduce yourself.
Hi, this is Gauri. I have no experience in software, and you can consider me as a fresher. I'm entirely new to this field. For me, it's
okay.
But she told me while I was talking to her in earlier discussion, she was slightly good at C.
Yeah, I learned C programming. That was like, it's over a decade, like 15 years, I can say. Yeah, 15 years. So that's what I'm exposed to C, C++, SQL, all those stuff. But now I have to start from fresh.
Okay.
those things I studied in college, and that's it. So I have to start from fresh.
Sure, sure. Thank you.
Sunita?
Yeah. Hi, this is Sunita. I have over 8 years of experience as a network engineer, and I have some experience with the SOX compliance audit and stuff. But when it comes to AngularJS and HTML, you can consider me as a fresher.
Okay.
HTML I know very, very, very minimal. I just know what is what. That's it. I don't have any in detailed idea about it.
Okay. Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
So do you have anyone else, Srini?
Suresh, not now. Maybe, tomorrow or day after I would know. But you can continue
Okay.
now.
Yes. Sir, we have a couple of guys, but we'll, since I was planning a separate batch with senior students, so that I accommodated all these 5 people. We will add a few more in a day or two.
Okay.
Okay. So how shall we plan? Because it should be a complete UI demo now. It can't be only AngularJS anymore.
Right. That's true. Agree.
So we will plan accordingly, and based on that, we'll design a curriculum, and to understand how they are responding to our sessions, then only we will be able to tell them how much time that it takes to complete the entire course as per series requirement.
Yes. I think that is good to just design the curriculum. I mean, we came to know their understanding. I mean, their experience level and their requirement. Right? So we'll design the curriculum for them. Based on that, we'll give the timings.
So Posita, you will not be having any issues even to start with right from beginning also, right? I mean, will you get bored?
No issues. I'm fine with it.
Right, it is fine. Sure. Sir, you can continue. We will speak on the curriculum. We will design a curriculum and set the standards. Then we'll share it to them back. You can proceed with making them to know what's completely UI all about and AngularJS all about. So you can proceed and you can carry on. And Gauri and Sunita, we can discuss later sometime about after this session is done, maybe anytime after today evening. Okay.
Thank you.
Because now it's bedtime for me. I'm working since all the night, so I'm leaving. Okay. Thank you.
So the demo would be for today. I'm just it's a kind of unplanned demo. So I'll just start with what is HTML and then why JavaScript is needed for it, and then I'll take you to the AngularJS. I'll just explain that in what way it is going to help the web applications basically. So I'm just setting the context of the demo. So, Srini?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so I'm just setting the context of the demo. So would it be fine, or are you expecting something else?
No. You can go ahead with your, with your thoughts.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Fine. Hi Tim. So we know that the web applications are there since quite long time. They exist, and mainly the web applications are used. There are kind of the web applications like static and dynamic. So when we say what is a static web page, static web page is nothing but let's take this. So you can see that the google.com here. So this document, so we'll call this portion, this area as a document. So when I load this URL into my browser, so this got served by the server which is hosted by Google. So I got this page rendered from the HTML, but this HTML got derived, or it got from the server. So whatever the content available here is how to know whether it is a static or dynamic, whether it is a static web page or dynamic web page. How do we come to know? So when I see that, you can see here, whenever I mouse over here, there is something is happening, and I'm feeling lucky there is something is happening. So if you can actually see here, let me just take you to this some other site where you can actually see that the dynamic feature. Okay, first let me complete the static behavior. If I don't see anything is happening, then on user action, if I don't see anything is happening, then it is called a static web page. Dynamic is nothing but on action on the page, basically on action on the document. If I click on this particular element, if something else is showing to me, then it is called dynamic. So to mainly differentiate it, if we are able to see extra new elements at runtime, that means after loading the document, if we are able to see the new elements on the document, then it is called dynamic. So why do we need that dynamic behavior? You can stop me if you are not following. I mean, if you have any doubt here. Let me take you to some other page. I'll just show you there how the if you see here, I would say this is also dynamic web page. So when I click on this tab, I'm seeing some content. When I click on this tab, it is showing a different content. You can see that the portion of the document is actually getting displayed with the new set of the elements. You can see here. Let me take you to some other page where it's not that I'm booking a movie ticket, I'm just trying to show you this. Okay, so if you see this particular page, the screen here, when I click on it, what is happening? When I click on it, this getting expanded. So what is this? The click. The click is the action that the user is performing on the page. And the document is capable of responding to the events. Document is capable of responding to. So here, what is a document? The screen that we are able to see is the document. So when I click on it, the document is capable of responding to the event. So when I click on it, so we are actually registering some listener. So that guy is actually going to expand this portion and he will render this new elements. So this is the dynamic behavior. And even here also, so when you see that when I click on it, so this is showing us different things, I mean different elements on the portion of this particular document. So you can see it here. So how is this being implemented? How is this being implemented? So when I click on it, you can see that when I click on it, it is getting expanded. When I re-click on it, it's kind of toggle, then it is getting collapsed. So all these functionalities are implemented with the help of the JavaScript and CSS. So how the JavaScript is actually going to help us here. So when I click on it, so I'm going to write a JavaScript function and that function will be registered here. So that will take care of applying the CSS dynamically, maybe collapsing and expanding. Okay. And I hope you are clear about HTML. So HTML is the markup language. It will be used to create the web pages. So this is one tag in the HTML. We'll call everything as a tag. These are the elements basically. So this is a input tag which will be used to render the input element, and this is the button. So we'll go for now. Just assume that the HTML is the one which will be used to build the web pages. So it has got different elements. All of them are going to be represented with the tags. We'll call them as a HTML tags. So we need to let me just bring up this so you can see that. At the back end, the source is going to be the tag. You can see that here there is a body. Let me take you to the input. So this is got rendered from this particular code, and this is called input tag. So each tag is actually going to be contained within the brackets here, the less than and greater than. So it will be closed here. We have different types. Input is going to represent the input. Input type again here, this is going to be the text. This is used to take the input in the form of the text. And this one, you can see that this is basically the button. Let me just highlight it. So this is an anchor tag, but it got rendered as a button. It's an anchor tag. Whenever we click on it, it will take us to the some other button. From there, it is getting submitted to the some other page. Okay, with the help of the CSS, this is rendered as a button. It's not a HTML component, but it's a CSS button, which is created for the anchor tag. So we use the HTML for creating the web pages. A web page can be a static or dynamic. How to make a static web page to the dynamic? There we need the JavaScript. To create the dynamic web pages, we need the JavaScript. Why? So if you take this is the DOM tree. Whatever we are seeing here, this is the DOM tree. Each element at the background will have the object. So if I want to change it, so assume that when I you can see some behavior here, behavior change. When I click in the text field, you can see that the color of the text field is getting changed and it got highlighted. There is some effect. Are you able to observe it?
Yes.
So how it is actually implemented? It is implemented with the help of the JavaScript only. When event occurs on this particular page, we are going to apply extra behavior to it. That extra behavior is applied here itself. We are not going to the server and we are not getting that extra behavior. So we are implementing it here after loading the page. This is called a dynamic behavior. So how do we do that is, we are going to read this element related object in the DOM. This is the DOM tree which will be rendered. When the page is loaded, it will create a DOM tree, and so to apply the extra behavior for any of these particular element which are available in the document, we'll go ahead and read that element and we'll apply the behavior, the dynamic behavior. So you may not see that part of the element definition, but it will be applied in the JavaScript file. So we'll have the script file separately. You can see here. Okay, they are already loaded, so we don't find them. You can actually go to the sources, and here you can see that some JS files which are used for this particular document. It seems they are minified, so you don't read them clearly. Minified for better response, so they have minified. So it is all about like the JavaScript and HTML, but the way it differs when we go for the AngularJS. What is AngularJS? I think it is going to be very tough for you to understand clearly what is AngularJS, because you need to know something about the JavaScript and the HTML, all this stuff. So anyway, I'll just give you the overview of AngularJS and why would we need it, okay, and how it is getting implemented for the projects. Mainly we use the AngularJS because it is a front-end MVC framework. Before the existence of the AngularJS, there were no good MVC frameworks available for the front end, basically for the JavaScript libraries. So JavaScript is a core for web applications. When I say that core means we use the JavaScript for doing the DOM manipulation. From the JavaScript there are many libraries created which would actually make the developers' life easy by creating a reusable basically the library of the functions. If we take the jQuery, it's a library written on top of the JavaScript, and we have prototype. There are many libraries which are written out of the JavaScript, basically by extending the objects of the JavaScript. So why they have been created to help, basically to help the developer to ease the development activities. Okay, that's fine. So if there are we'll just take the jQuery. Mainly jQuery simplified the DOM traversing and also it addressed the browser compatibility issues. When I say browser compatibility issues, we have got several browsers, not like IE. We have Chrome, we have Safari, we have Internet Explorer, and in each category we have different versions. So when we write a JavaScript function, it should work in all the browsers. But depending on their engine, some of the object properties will work, some of them may not work. So how to address that? For that you should be knowing what is supported in Chrome browser, what is not supported in the IE browser if you are dealing with plain JavaScript. But if you go with jQuery, it is already addressed, because there we are not going to deal with core JavaScript. We will be dealing with the jQuery methods basically. So that's how the jQuery is helping the developers. Not only cross-browser compatibility issues, it also helps us. It will make the developer life easy because it has the inbuilt functions where like widgets, okay, for building the UI components like the calendar component and then carousel. Okay, if you see this is also one of the component. You can see that the tabs is getting here. Okay, this to implement this, you can directly go with the jQuery. I don't know what they have used. Let me inspect it. We'll come to know what they have used. Okay, so since it is not the they are using some kind of the widget here. You can see that pages head, the div clause. There is a switch step. So they are using their own library here. It's not completely the jQuery. That's fine. So how the Angular is going to help us, right? Here I'm just giving an overview of the technology, not going in depth here like the regular demo because you are new to these technologies. Angular is actually going to help us in organizing the objects, basically the components in a clear way. MVC, it's a pure MVC implementation for the front-end technologies. basically for the front-end JavaScript technologies. So
what is an MVC?
Yeah, I'm coming there. MVC is basically the model view controller.
Okay.
MVC is a model view controller. It's a design pattern. Whatever we see on the page is the view. Whatever we see on the page is the view. The one that which is visible to the user is called the view. So how it is getting rendered internally, we are getting the data. What is this? This is the data, right? So how this data is displayed on the view? This data is projected into the view from the model. So model is called as an object, we'll call it as a JavaScript object, which contains this data. Are you getting me? And how this model is linked with this view, that will be done with the controller. Controller is the one who is actually going to initialize the model which will be used in the view. So controller is again a JavaScript function which will be used to initialize the model and link that model with the controller. And link that model with the view. So did you get overall idea of what is the view, what is model, what is controller? Let me just take you here. So here you can see that the visual portion here, whatever we are seeing here, this is the view, this is the visual portion, and this portion, the view, here you can see that the yellow colored box which is representing the view. Assume that this is the code. This is the code which rendered this view. This is the code which rendered this view. Are you getting me?
Yes.
And then you can see here, I am binding a controller here to this particular element. Div is one of the element, okay, which will be used to render the div portion in the document. Here I am binding a controller to this particular div, and what this controller is actually doing here is it will create a scope object. This is Angular terminology. Don't worry about the scope. It will just create a JavaScript object, and it is going to add some model objects to it. So right now you can see that there is a name. There is the name given, the value as John D. So when I try to access that here in the Angular way, I am directly referring that name here because I have bound that name model to the scope object here. Within the controller, we are going to have this part. See, you can see that the gray colored one is the scope. Actually, it's an object, and this will be inside. This code will be inside the controller. You can see here it's orange. So here in inner controller, the controller, within the controller, this code will be there. I have just taken it out to represent it clearly. So this is the model actually. So what is a model? Model is going to represent the data. Model is going to represent the data. The model data will be projected into the view. Are you getting me?
Okay.
Projected is nothing but the model data will be used in the view to render the data to the user.
So for all these tags and elements, you are clicking inspect element, right? For just to get an overview, I just wanted to know.
Right.
Okay.
So inspection, it is going to, we generally use it for debugging purpose to know if something is not working. We would like to know what are the properties, what are the CSS, or what is the JavaScript function it is actually calling. It's a kind of debugging. So for debugging, we use the inspection. This is called developer tools. All the browsers have the developers tools. To bring up the developers tools, you can click on F12 keyboard and you can inspect it. If you click on this, you can see that what is this? This is a strong element used to render this particular text. The strong element is one of the HTML element. and you can see that when I click on this, so this is the div, and this div portion is here. So you just to see from which element the portion is got rendered, we use the inspection tool, and also you can see that the highlighted portion, the div class container. Here the div is a container which contains number of elements. What are the elements? If you select it, you can see that. So all this element, this portion is basically rendered from the div. And if you select this above portion, so you can see that this got rendered from this UL. So we use this developer tools basically for inspecting the elements to see from which element they got rendered. So mainly we use it for debugging purposes. And let's come back to here. See, here with the AngularJS, we have a better organization of our components which are used to build our websites. With this way, not only this, the MVC implementation, here we have a dependency injection concept. So dependency injection is nothing but one JavaScript object will be dependent on another. So how the dependency will be given, how the dependency will be injected here. Without AngularJS, we used to create that object in the dependent one. So that is a kind of tight coupling. So we don't want tight coupling, we want the loose coupling. There we need the dependency injection. So there are many advantages of dependency injection. If we have the loose coupling, we can test the code easily. So we are going to make our code testable, and also it is going to be very easy for the developers to go and change the code because they are not going to touch the dependency code part. I'm just touching on those concepts. The dependency injection and then the MVC implementation, all these features are not available in the plain JavaScript. If you go and write the code using the JavaScript, you cannot implement these features because they are not supported. So let me just take you there. Anyway, it is not right to show you the concept of the AngularJS now. So it has got many features, and each feature is basically driven from the problems of the existing applications. So what happened, right, for each and every feature, getting the dependencies into the Angular and to create a template. For creating the templates, we have a separate JavaScript library. For creating the templates, we have separate JavaScript library that is called _.js, handler.js, mustache.js, jd.js. So if you are not using the AngularJS and if you want the templating requirement to be implemented, then you will have to opt for any one of this framework. These are all again the JavaScript frameworks. Okay, but what is the functionality that they are going to provide here is all these libraries, whatever we are seeing here, they are used to provide the templating behavior. So first of all, what is a template? What is a template? A template is nothing but, if you see, let me just, okay, if you see here the HTML here, what we are doing here, you can just see here, no need to worry much about it. The name here, hello, within the double curly braces, opening and ending curly braces, I am referring to some variable. So the data of this, whatever the data is available in the variable, it will be injected here. So without templating frameworks, it is not possible to program like this. You can think of the template, if some part of the code is getting repeated in more than one page, then we can make it as a template. But what will be changing is data will be changing from one page to the another page. So in that case, what I can do, I can create a template, and based on the model of that particular page, data will vary. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
So in general, what is a template? Like we'll just create a template. It is going to be the reference for multiple implementations. You use the same template, but internally you may change the content of it. You may color it to the red, blue, yellow, but the template is same. Okay. So to implement this templating requirements, we have different framework. But in Angular, so Angular has inbuilt capability. You don't need any you don't need to implement the other frameworks here. So it's a kind of like it has incorporated all the requirements of the modern web applications. So you don't need to look for any other framework when you are using the AngularJS. Okay, so we'll go through one by one. Okay, once we come to the AngularJS discussion. So now you know, right? We use the HTML for building the web pages, and we use the JavaScript for making it dynamic. So JavaScript is mainly used when it, I mean, when it was introduced, it was mainly used for form validation, making sure that we are taking the valid data into the application to process. Later on, it was used for providing the dynamic behavior. Dynamic behavior is nothing but, so when I after loading the HTML document onto the browser, so I want to see some changes based on the actions. That is the dynamic behavior. And then we have different libraries like JQuery, Protractor. There are many. So those libraries are mainly created for different purposes. And Angular is also one of the JavaScript library. Angular is also one of the JavaScript library which implements the MVC design pattern, and also it has incorporated all the frameworks in it, I just discussed the templating, dependency injection. So there are many features available. That's why Angular is getting adapted more and more into the web applications. So we can see that if you see the potential of the AngularJS, so there are many applications which are migrating from the front-end view technologies like server-side view technologies to the AngularJS. It could be a JSP, it could be ASP. So there are many applications which are getting migrated from the server-side rendering technologies to the AngularJS. And also the new applications are getting built using the AngularJS. It was mainly created for building the single-page applications, but there is no limitation that we should use the AngularJS only for building the single-page applications. So we can use it for multi-page applications as well. So here, what is a single-page application? What is a multi-page application? Is nothing but it's very simple. When we say the single-page application, from the server only one page will be rendered, and remaining views will be rendered. Rendered is nothing but they will be created from the client browser itself. It will not go and get the view from the server. In case of the multi-page application, each page will be rendered from the server. Okay, so this is going to be a bit tricky to understand for now. So we'll get a clear understanding once we start with HTML, how it will be rendered from the server. So when we say that the HTML page is rendered from the server, means it will not be available on your local machine. But the HTML is going to be, how the HTML will be displayed to you. It's the browser who is actually going to parse the HTML document. I mean the HTML elements whatever created, and it will paint that particular element content here. But from where this HTML source is downloaded, it got downloaded from the server. It is not available in your local browser. It got downloaded from the server. Are you getting me? HTMLs are going to be executed at client side, not at server side.
Okay.
Fine, we'll discuss more about what is a client side, what is server side going forward. So do you have any doubts like why should I learn this and then what are the opportunities available like that? So again, coming to the UI technologies, there are plenty of opportunities. If you take that, it is a horizontal, it is not a vertical. When I say horizontal and vertical, coming to the technologies like Java, .NET, we have many technologies. But when it comes to the UI, like the JavaScript, it is common for .NET, it is common for, Java based application will have the JavaScript, and also the .NET based application will have the JavaScript. So if you see that in that view, so there will be more opportunities for the UI. Yes, there are more opportunities. There is a potential.
Will Node.js is also included in this curriculum or not? I mean, like,
Node.js is, yeah, we'll actually talk. It's not included. If needed, we can include it. Node.js is basically the server-side JavaScript programming language. It's a server-side. We use the Node.js to create the server-side applications.
Got it.
Not the client.
Got it.
Yeah. Sure. Then, anything else? So if any doubts, I'll try to clarify them now, else we can take it in the next session.
When you are asking anything else, please respond.
If any doubts, if they have any doubts on the why this technology, why not?
We'll send across this demo video.
Okay.
Thank you.